I want to first say it was an honor to hear from Secretary General Guerrera, and also want to thank Amy Liu of the Brookings Institute for being a wonderful host and a wonderful partner. And as mentioned, my name is Antoinette Samuel, and I am the Deputy Executive Director of the National League of Cities. I'm here because the National League of Cities has partnered with the OECD for the Inclusive Growth in Cities campaign, and because inclusive growth is fundamental to a healthy and thriving community. First, a bit about the National League of Cities, if I may. We are an association of city leaders and are committed to what has been stated here today, and that we represent both large cities and small towns and everything in between. And that through our direct membership, we partner also with our state municipal leagues, and we actually represent the 19,000 cities and towns in the United States. And also, for us, inclusion means many things. Economic inclusion is critical, but historically, local government economic development policies and programs have not benefited all populations equally, and have in many cases particularly shortchanged people of color, immigrants, and low-income communities. We look at inclusive communities from a holistic perspective because everyone in the community needs to feel invested in their city's success. Income inequality and poverty are critical issues we need to work on, but there are many related issues that are also a part of this important discussion. Inclusiveness means affordability and non-discrimination in housing, so that neighborhoods are diverse and representatives of a city's population. It means acceptance of new immigrants and respecting and celebrating their culture and religious traditions. And inclusiveness means fighting discrimination, like protecting the rights of the LGBT community and promoting religious tolerance. All these topics are connected to growth in communities. Not only growth in the economy and in creating wealth, but also in the improvement of a community's relationship between people and one another. I would like to briefly call attention to a couple initiatives within the National League of Cities that we are working on that support at least the spirit of inclusive growth in cities campaign. First, I want to talk to you about REAL. After the events of Ferguson and other cities across the country, it became clear to the National League of Cities that strong city leadership was needed to address racial and inequity disparities facing numerous communities. So in 2015, we created and launched REAL, which stands for Race, Equity, and Leadership. This initiative helps city leaders address the growing and persistent tension around race and equality in America. And I wanted to emphasize that we purposely use the word leadership because it is our belief that it is city leaders and their leadership that should be on the forefront addressing these issues. Since REAL launched in March of 2015, we worked to equip local leaders with the tools to apply a racial equity lens in their policies, programs, and procedures. In the coming year, NLC will continue to provide these trainings for local elected officials while launching an initiative that challenges cities to actually take action in addressing racial disparities. I also want to talk about a program that we've just started called the Equitable Economic Development Fellowship. We've partnered with Cerna Foundation, the Open Society Foundations, Policy Link, and the Urban Land Institute to build an Equitable Economic Development Fellowship within NLC. The goal of this initiative is to influence economic development policy and practice so that equity, transparency, sustainability, and community engagement become driving forces as cities engage in new projects. Later this month, the fellowship will convene economic development leaders from 6 U.S. cities for a year-long program of leadership development, technical assistance, peer learning, and team reflection. So in concluding, I want to again thank you for having the National League of Cities. We are appreciative of this partnership and taking part in this important discussion. And it is our belief that together we can make inclusiveness a real pillar of growth in our cities. So we're very pleased to be a partner in this effort. I want to give my thanks to the esteemed panel. And just to leave you with a thought that came across as you were discussing your perspectives. We look at city growth, but we don't look at growth in cities oftentimes as just a physical transaction. That we believe that the growth of cities also takes in something more, and that is the human factor. When we oftentimes think of a city in our communities, we just don't think of the physical buildings that help us identify with that community. It is what that city represents, that feeling we get about that city. It is the heart of that city. So I think what we're all talking about is as we focus on the growth in our communities, the changes in our community, it is not just a physical transaction, but we must also pay attention to how we develop the heart of that community and that city as well. So thank you very much.